Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Emily Terrell. I am your hearing examiner today. We are in the Kenmore City Hall Council chambers. It is September 12th, 2019 at 9 o'clock in the morning approximately. We are here today to hear the case of Benjamin Court Preliminary Subdivision. It is file number PLP 18-0035 and project number PRJ18-0035. The proposed subdivision of a 4.15 acre property located in the R6 zone into 13 lots plus critical areas and a stormwater and recreation tract. I will begin today by mentioning that if you are a member of the public and you would like to speak and or want a copy of this decision, please sign the sign-in sheet that is being held by Ms. Baker over there, the clerk. Thank you. And the order of operations today is I will begin by entering the exhibits into the record. Others may be added during the hearing. And then I will swear everyone in. You do not have to speak if you're sworn in, but you can't if you don't. So please do. And then the staff will give a presentation followed by the applicant and then members of the public. And I'm assuming that that mic is live for members of the public. This is recorded, so if you're going to speak, come up and speak. Don't be afraid. I don't bite. So exhibits A1 through H3 on pages 27 through 28 of the staff report are hereby entered into the record. Let's do that swearing in thing. Raise your right hand for me if you think you might speak. Do you swear and affirm that your testimony today will be the truth? Indicate in the affirmative. Awesome. Thank you very much. In that case, staff.
Good morning. There we go.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you for coming to City of Kenmore today to talk about Benjamin Court Preliminary Subdivision. I do have a slideshow prepared. Everything that's in the slideshow is already in the staff report or exhibit, so there's no new information in the slideshow, just as a information. So this is, Benjamin Court is a 13-lot subdivision, and in the Kenmore Municipal Code, Chapter 19, that's a Type 3 land use decision. This requires public notification, a 21-day public comment period that was combined with the optional SEPA comment period, and a recommendation made by the staff, by the city, and that's what's within the staff reports and the exhibits. A SEPA threshold determination was already made by the city, and that I'll go through when that was made as part of the timeline, and that was not appealed. And today's the public hearing, and we'll receive a decision from you that's appealable to King County Superior Court. So the subject property is located at 19715 75th Avenue Northeast. It is King County parcel number 011-410-0135. I do want to call to attention, there were a couple typos in the staff report. One of them is the lot size, the square footage should be, instead of 108,929, it should be 180,929. The 4.15 acres is still correct, but the 8 and the 0 got switched. So there may be references in here that refer to the 108,000 square feet, but it should be corrected. So let's see. So this proposal is, so wait, one more thing if I can go back. The subject property is located in between 73rd and 75th, so it's a rather large property, and so it spans, it has two frontages essentially. And within the property there is one Type 3 stream, and there are two wetlands. Both of them are categorized as Class 2 wetlands. The property, all the wetlands and the streams and the buffers are included within a critical areas tract, which is Tract B. The stream buffer has not been reduced. It's the standard 50-foot buffer. However, the Class 2 wetland buffer received a 25% reduction pursuant to our code, which requires enhancement as part of the reduction, and I'll go over that as well. Let's see. So 12 of the lots are on the eastern portion and take access from 75th Avenue, and there's one lot that takes access from 73rd Avenue. So most of the lots are from 75th, and there are frontage improvements along both frontages and as well within the cul-de-sac Road A, which will become a public roadway. This project is referred to as Benjamin Court. And so we've talked about Tract B, which is 74,511 square feet, which is critical areas and buffers. And that is approximately 41% of the total site size. There was a reference on page 6 to 68%, but that was an error based on that previous incorrect number. So it's 41%. Tract A is a shared space. It's stormwater and recreation space where there's a vault underneath and there's play equipment on the top. And there is 13,198 square feet of right-of-way dedication. So to go back to the process a little bit, as part of the public notice and the optional SEPA notice, the city published the notice of application in the Seattle Times newspaper, and we mail out the decision to a radius of 1,000 feet from the subject property, and it's posted on notice boards on the site. Because this has two frontages, there were 2 public notice boards, one on each frontage. And you can refer to exhibits B2 through B7 that has all of the public notice information, including copies of the labels for all the residents that we mailed them out to. During the 21-day public comment period, the city received 5 written public comments. Those are summarized in pages 5 and 6 of the staff report. All comments received by the city were provided to the applicant and reviewed by the applicable reviewers. So I reviewed all of them, and then they also went to engineering department. And so the city responded to all of those comments and reviewed those for compliance with our adopted codes. Those are summarized in the table, and then individually we go through each of those in the staff report. All of the comments are essentially addressed by an existing city code or process that's already in place. So we got that. The public comment period was November 22nd, 2018 through December 13th, 2018. Project milestones for Benjamin Court. So this is on what you see on the projector is also on the staff report, and it goes through just the important milestones that took place. And that is starting on page 2 and going to page 3 of the staff report. So the application had a pre-application meeting in April of 2018 and then submitted for intake. So they did their land use application in October of 2018. In early November, within the required time period, the city determined the application was complete and moved forward with the public notice process. The 21-day public notice started on November 22nd, as I mentioned, and ended on December 13th of 2018. The city waits for all the public comments before releasing the first round of corrections to the applicant, because we wait and we consider all the public comments that are received as part of the first review. So the city released the comments on the first round of comments on December 21st, 2018. A resubmittal was received in March 2019. And the second round of corrections were sent back to the applicant April 29th, 2019, and a resubmittal was received in May. In June of 2019, the city completed the review and determined that no additional corrections were required and began to prepare the staff report, SEPA determination, and scheduling this public hearing. The SEPA determination of non-significance was issued on August 9th, 2019, and there was a 21-day, let's see, there was an appeal period that went along with it that ended, I don't think the appeal period's in here, but there is an exhibit for that. There's a copy of the staff report or the SEPA determination within the exhibits. And so the SEPA appeal period ended on August 23rd, and that was not appealed. So to kind of jump into the plan review for this process, this is a summary of all the reviews that were done by the reviewers, and this is also on page 2 of your staff report. And so the project was reviewed by City of Kenmore, the Director of Development Services, Brian Hampson. He's also our SEPA official. I'm Samantha Loyuk, and I'm the Associate Planner. The city civil engineer at the time was Terry Bielenberg, but that review was taken over by John Forba of PACE Engineers. PACE is a consultant used by the city for development review for engineering. North Shore Utility District reviewed it for water and sewer, and that was Tama Crenshaw. And the North Shore Fire Department, Jeff LaFlamme, reviewed it for fire and life safety. It was also reviewed by the police chief and the North Shore School District. So jumping into the comments, the first review that we'll go over is the planning review. And so that starts, it's a large part of the staff report. It essentially starts on page 6 with the land division, and it steps through how the project meets Chapter 17 of the Kenmore Municipal Code. And that talks about more about how the lots are configured and more general. If we get into the zoning, which is Title 18, that's a little more detailed and talks about specifics required for the subdivision in each lot. So the subject property is zoned R6, and R6 is also the comprehensive plan designation for it. And the proposal is 13 new single-family residences, dwelling units, and there's one existing, so it's a net gain of 12. According to just a density calculation alone, the property, let's see, the base density for the property is 25, and so there could be just 25 potential dwelling units as a base, and the maximum density is 37 dwelling units. This property, because of critical area constraints, cannot have that many, and they're proposing 13, which is well within the base density. Development standards of the R6 zone were reviewed as part of this application for each lot, and Exhibit C2 demonstrates compliance with Kenmore Municipal Code 18.21. And those are outlined on page 8 as well. Kenmore Municipal Code 1821-030, Table B, talks about minimum lot sizes. Minimum lot sizes for this zone are 5,400 square feet, and that's a net size, so it cannot include if there's a panhandle for access, things like that. The code also allows up to a 20% reduction for the number of lots so that an area can be no less than 10% prescribed for the zone. What that means is that there could potentially be, 3 lots that are as small as 4,860 square feet. However, the proposal is only proposing to reduce one of the lot sizes, which is lot 6, and they're reducing it to 5,245 square feet. No other reductions are proposed for lot sizes. The project has a common recreation space and includes a 2,300 square foot recreation space within a 7,229 square foot tract, which is a stormwater detention area with a vault below. The project exceeds the required recreation space minimum requirements, which is 45 square feet per dwelling or 450 square feet, whichever is greater. And so the minimum size is 1,170, so it exceeds that. There is Tract C is an access tract. that goes to Tract A, and all lots will have access to the recreation area. Let's see. The project was reviewed for compliance with the tree management and protection standards, which require a tree density of 30 tree units per buildable acre. So the critical areas and tracts are not included in that calculation, and the trees can also not be included or receive credit. So according to the engineering plans, there are 1.95 buildable acres. If you times that by 30, you get 58.5 tree units. The city prefers that all of those units are used with existing healthy trees, and so that's what this project has done. They retain 68 tree units that are existing healthy trees that are not in the critical area tract. Just to mention, the critical area tract does include, there are over 100 trees in the tract right now, and there are going to be 240 proposed trees in the tract, but again, that's separate from this requirement. The project is subject to impact fees, including parks, school, and traffic. As part of the report, they're separated into different sections of the finding, but parks is on page 11. Because there's one existing single-family residence, the city has recommended that the project receive credit for one single-family residence, and as a process, we always apply that to lot number 1. So the critical areas are governed by Kenmore Municipal Code 1855. And so that is starting on page 11, 12, and it goes 13, 14, 13 and 14. And so the type 3 stream that is there will receive the 50-foot buffer, which is standard. And the two wetlands, instead of a 100-foot buffer, the applicant is choosing to utilize the 25% reduction that's allowed by code. The code allows the reduction for when they use a combination of buffer enhancement and low impact development strategies. And so the mitigation plan includes 0.92 acres of removal of invasives. The area has a significant amount of invasive species like Himalayan blackberry, English ivy, and Japanese knotweed. The mitigation plan also includes 240 native trees and 585 native shrubs. And the city finds that this buffer reduction meets the decisional criteria of 1855-320 and recommends the 25% reduction be granted. There is a 5-year minimum monitoring period that does require a bond for that, and so there will be yearly reportings that the applicant's biologist provides to the city, and then the city will inspect it before releasing the financial guarantee. During construction, there will be a temporary silt vents to protect the critical areas from construction impacts, and then there will be permanent fencing and signage along the edge of the critical areas tract. Because the property is so large and there are 2 sides to this, that's a significant amount of fencing and signage.
That's huge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the frontage improvements, that's a lot of frontage improvements.
It's a lot of frontage and
Yeah.
a lot of
Good market in Kenmore.
shoreline. So the city of Kenmore's shoreline map showed that it was mapped within a shoreline, but it was a mapping error where it crossed over 73rd, and so the applicant provided a memo that talked about that, and the city takes no exception to that memo and finds that the subject property is not within the shoreline, and that is figure 1 of Appendix F, Exhibit D9. Surface water and road standards are considered an engineering review, and that review was completed by John Forma. And John can talk about his review a little bit.
Hello. So the city has adopted the King County Surface Water Design Manual as its surface water standards, along with a city-provided addendum. The plans and drainage report were reviewed per those standards and found to be in compliance with those standards. This does lie within the Swamp Creek Basin, which requires additional flow control, level 3 flow control, which the applicant has provided information that they will be meeting this. Further stormwater details concerning the exact configuration of the vault will be provided at the time of engineering permitting. But at this time, conceptually, it does meet all applicable stormwater standards. Roadway standards, Kenmore has developed their own City of Kenmore roadway standards. Per the roadway standards, the project does meet all required roadway standards. Frontage improvements are required on both frontages, both 73rd and 75th, as the project is proposing increased use of the site on both sides. Both roadways are being widened to ensure that the standard roadway section is met, which includes curb and gutter, a 4-foot planar strip, and a 5-foot sidewalk. The internal roadway is classified as a local access street off of 75th, and that meets all dimensional standards. It includes a 80-foot diameter cul-de-sac, which meets all the access requirements, including fire turnaround that was required by the North Shore Fire District and the Fire Marshal Jeff LaFlamme. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot. Again, the final engineering details will be provided during the engineering permitting time. So. Oh, and as stated earlier, there is a traffic impact fee. Recently, there has also been a stormwater facilities charge that will be charged at the time of each building permit as well. So.
Is there a school impact fee? Are we going to get there? Okay, sorry.
We'll get there.
All right.
Okay. So the project was also reviewed by the North Shore Utility District for water and sewer requirements. That's on page 19 of the staff report. There is one change that's on 11D, as in David, is that the comments made by North Shore Utility District was that the detention vault was in the road, but that's not correct. It's in Tract A, which is actually a benefit because it addresses their concern about getting kind of being squeezed for water and sewer connections. So moving that to Tract A addresses that comment. As part of this review, the City of Kenmore sends each permit that we receive, so the subsequent engineering permit and final plat will be sent to the North Shore Utility District for review, and the applicant has to apply for their own water and sewer permits with the district. And so the city is checking in at each step up the way to make sure that those requirements are being fulfilled. The project is reviewed by fire and police as well. The fire department, the police generally, they accept all new plats within the city and they're able to accommodate those. So they've kind of given us a blanket statement on that. If there's anything really unique about it, we'll send it to them. But we've received confirmation that that's fine.
In 25 years as a planner and hearing examiner, I have yet to ever receive a police comment.
Okay. Thank you.
You let them know. That's your job, but they're not going to respond.
So the North Shore Fire Department provided comments saying that fire sprinklers are required. They're required in all new single families residences in Kenmore. I believe that the reference to the code section where it's required, I believe is incorrect, and I can provide that correct code section for number 10, page 18 of the staff report. The fire marshal reviewed access to each of the residences for fire and life safety and determined that it was adequate. There's a new fire hydrant that's proposed, and that location is acceptable, and that will be verified prior to final engineering inspection approval. The North Shore School District reviewed the application and has determined that children that are at the subject property will attend Kenmore Elementary, Kenmore Junior High, or I think it's Kenmore Middle School, and Inglemore High School. All of them will walk to the same location. So the Kenmore Elementary is also where the bus stop is for the middle school and the high school. And that is for children at Lot 1, that's an 11-minute walk. And for all the rest of the children, Lots 2 through 13, that's a 12-minute walk. And the district has requested frontage improvements, which are included as part of the project proposal. So the city finds that it meets that requirement. The project is subject to school impact fees, and similar to the parks and traffic impact fee, the city recommends a credit of 1 applied to Lot 1 because there's an existing single-family residence there. And so the city, based on a review of the application, the city respectfully recommends to the hearing examiner that preliminary subdivision approval be granted subject to the conditions identified in the staff report. And each condition links back to one of the findings. And so these are all consistent with the city's findings. And we also recommend the project comply with the exhibits C1 through G3 unless otherwise approved by the city. The city has nothing further.
Okay. Before I get to the applicant, I want to say I've spent more time than you'd guess in the Kenmore City Code over the last 5 or 6 years. It's a really well-written, tight code, and the staff report is excellent. It's a very
Thank
thorough
you.
staff. I read a lot of staff reports, and this one is just so nice to put together.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you for providing all the information in an exceptionally clear format. Thank you both. Okay, compliments done. I think we've met in Renton before. I'm certain that we have. So, applicant, please.
Good morning, Madam Examiner. My name is Maher Judy. I work for DR Strong. I'm the project engineer on the project. I had a presentation written out, but as you stated, the thorough staff report as well as the very thorough presentation has kind of stolen all my thunder.
Sorry.
The only thing that I would have to add is just a clarification to staff's reference to the code section regarding fire sprinklers. I believe that code section is stipulated in condition O, and that's where the code reference is incorrect. The conclusions don't specify which code section, but that condition does. The code section references elevator car size, and I think it's a couple sections down in the code to be 1520.130 instead of 1520.105 that has to do with fire sprinklers. Other than that, like I said, I think staff has done a very thorough review through the preliminary plat process as well as a very thorough presentation, so I don't really have much to add. We are providing frontage improvements on both streets. The majority of the lots do access from the east side with one accessing on the west. There is the recreation space available for lots 2 through 13 on the east side, and lot 1 is directly across the street from Wallace Swamp Creek Park. So the recreation opportunity is available there as well. As Mr. Forba discussed, we are providing level 3 flow control in the vault, and will discharge to the wetlands. We are proposing buffer reduction through enhancement, and the mitigation plans conceptually have been reviewed by staff and I believe concur, and will provide better engineering details at the time of engineering submittal. Other than that, I want to thank staff and for their review, and I'll be available for any questions as things arise.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add, Mr.? Is it Thiel or Teal? Thiel.
No, it sounds like the summary was great on our
Okay.
report. So.
Pretty sure we've met as well. small world in the development community.
Compliments all around.
All right, now I'll open the floor for any members of the public. If you have questions, comments, concerns, here is your opportunity. The mic is right there. Like I said, I don't bite. So would anyone like to make any comments at all, or are you just here to hear? And let me know if you have been sworn in, if folks came in and went. And also give us your name, spell your last name, because I'm going to get it wrong. I always do, and I don't mean to do that. And your address, and then go ahead.
John Paul Mickle, M like Mike, I-C-K-L-E. I live at 6803 Northeast 204th Street, Kenmore. Just a question, really, and maybe John Forward can answer this. I just can't read blueprints, otherwise I wouldn't have come at all. So the frontage improvements on 73rd include the sidewalk. Do they also include any kind of a, like the next development up from this proposed one has a little pull-off where you can get out of the main line road of travel to make your right turn into this subdivision? Does it have a 8-foot, 9-foot extra addition to the road?
I don't believe so, no. It meets the current roadway standards for 73rd Street, so that is a 2-lane roadway, and which only requires 20 feet curb to curb.
Right.
So they are doing half-street improvements for the length of their frontage along 73rd, but that does not include any sort of parking strip, bicycle lane, anything
I
like
don't
that.
want a parking strip. That's not my recommendation or my question. The question is, so this is right on an S-turn on 73rd? So it's going to be hidden from both approaches, whether you're coming from the school side of it or if you're coming from the Kenmore side of it. Without that ability for somebody pulling into this cul-de-sac or pulling out of this cul-de-sac to have that extra 8 to 9 feet creates a traffic merger problem, because traffic out there isn't 25 miles an hour. Traffic out there is quite a bit faster than 25 miles an hour. So that ability to just have that extra 8 to 9 feet, which the subdivision that's basically 100 yards down the road has the exact same pullouts, exact same frontage improvements that I think would be perfect for this subdivision.
I think that we can take that under consideration at the engineering permit stage. As of now, it's not required per the roadway standards, so the applicant hasn't proposed that, but we can certainly take it under consideration. What is reviewed is site distance triangles for both entering and exiting that proposed cul-de-sac area. So, and that currently meets the standards. So I think we can revisit this certainly at the engineering stage, but as of now, it is not a
Are we
requirement.
talking about on 73rd or 75th? I thought I heard you saying 73rd.
73rd.
Right, so no cul-de-sac, just a single driveway.
Wait, you said 70,
You said 73rd.
And again, that might be
You
my
said-
ignorance. Is this 73rd or 75th? I can't
it's
see.
75th is on the,
So
73rd.
73rd won't have anything off of it.
Oh.
Then I need-
It will have a
just one single driveway.
One single driveway, which, and I understand what Mr. Ford was saying, is that it will be as far from the S as possible, and with half-street improvements, that generally widens the pavement a bit.
No issue, no issue. I thought this was, the way this is on the board on 73rd, it's 90 degrees this way, so it makes it look like this is 73rd and pulling out.
Sure,
So
it's
I'm
more.
fine.
Okay, yeah, just a single family access driveway off of 73rd.
Thank you, John.
So, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to make comment? All right, seeing none, in that case, I will go ahead and close today's hearing. I have 10 business days under the law, which is 14 real days, to render a decision, and I want to thank you all for coming out today. It's nice to see you and be on a sunny day in Kenmore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don, does PACE have a building, like, review inspection group?
Strictly site plan, essentially.
So not like the BHC one where you can